It's officially been a month since I started this adventure, this journey, if you will. And I was reflecting today of doing my normal Jacob journal where I say how the day's been, how the week's been, but honestly, it's been pretty much the same. Sleeping schedule has been great. Drives home have been really long. Traffic here in Van is super bad at the moment during winter time. But about that, like, mornings go great. The stream, like, man, the energy you guys bring to that bitch is so good. Like, waking up to that amount of energy, guys are wild. So with the month in, I was reflecting on myself, like, what gives me the energy? Like, what brought me to start consistently streaming, being a full-time content creator and working 12 hours? Like, what is really giving me this drive? And reflecting on that is hard. Like, it's honestly hard. Like, what really drove me to this point? And there's a lot of deep-seated emotions that I have, like a lot of trauma, if you will. For the people that don't know, Jess and I have had a very hard time growing up. And like, we grew up together, right? Jess and I have been together for 10 years. So there's been a lot of like trauma that we overcame together. And like, maybe we're just at that point of our lives where we're ready to give back to the world. Like, I've been healing over this course of 10 years from my childhood alone. Talking about myself specifically here. And maybe I'm just ready to get out there and say hi to everybody and reach out to those people who have had similar traumas and who don't have as much energy as I have to give right now. So that's one part of it. Definitely one part of it is like, I want to open up and branch out. I've hidden for a long time, and to be out here to share my story is why I'm doing Jacob's Journal. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. Another part why I want to do Jacob's Journal is because the life I currently live is extremely unsustainable. I'm constantly over top of paint fumes, sawdust, incredible amounts of sawdust. Like, we have a whole mill under us, and I'm in the air in a basket and everything rises up. So I'm breathing it in. Like, this morning coming in, my nose was just raw and painful. And it's extremely hard on my body. Like, I'm lifting over like a couple tons a day, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, that's how much our cables weigh altogether, essentially. And it's painful. And it's like, if you would have saw the first Jacob's Journal, like, I get bruised, I get cut, and I'm expected to do that for 12 hours. I'm expected to do that on set, and sometimes we have to go over our 12 hours, and we don't get paid over the 12 hours, but there's a reason behind that. It's not like they're slave driving us. It's because, like, we give and take it here in film. It's like, sometimes you get off early, or sometimes you work like extra long, and it's beneficial that way. But it's excruciating on my pain. Like, my hands are cut up. I can't use certain sheets because my hands are so like torn that it'll catch on bed sheets, and they feel like, you know, when you like scrape a layer of skin off and it has that raw feeling? That's essentially what my hands feel like. And it's embarrassing, right? Like, I have so much dirt under my nails and my hands are like cut and bleeding, and it's like, what are you doing on your free time? And it's like, well, actually, it's not free time. It's me holding 100 pounds with my finger while I try to tie the sash. So it's something I'd like to get away from, right? Is like that constant feeling of pain. And then you get the common question of, why don't you move into an office? Like, why don't you do this? Or like, there's these options. Essentially, in my field, it's going to be basically the same type of work until I die. One thing I've been practicing is called board hopping, and that's when you use a computer to control all the lights and stuff like that. That's fine and dandy, but it's a very much slower pace, and you're still here for 12 hours, and you're still, like, good board ops will actually still haul cable too, since I'm part of the rigging. And I'm very limited. Unfortunately, I'm very limited at what I can do. So I enjoy building stages, I enjoy building the maps, I enjoy building the dim rooms. However, that's limited to one person on the crew, essentially, and there's not a high demand for it, right? Because most gaffers, who is like at the top, will just deal with it themselves. And so there's not really room to move into there. And then you could say, why don't you become a gaffer yourself? And man, your pay cap is so capped for extra stuff. And I watch these people ripping their hair out just in like depression. And it's like, each one I see is like this. And it's like, do you want to move towards that? No, nobody does. And film is pretty toxic. It's a very much, it's like you've never left high school. That's essentially how film works. It's all a popularity contest. And I've grown my personality here in film as the class clown. Essentially what I do on my streams, like coasting, is I act like the class clown. And that's a way I've learned over the years to deal with my anxiety and my uncomfortableness, is to act like a class clown. And you can't grow into an office space like that. That's where I was going with this, is I can't be out here in the real world being normal. It's just like the way I've developed is my coping mechanisms cause me to be a complete clown. And it's not all bad things, right? Because I do really love to enjoy to make people laugh. Like, it brings light to my day, essentially. Like, I like getting through the day being the class clown. It makes everyone else happier. Like, I notice around me, no one's ever holding their heads down and sad. And I like being in that role where I bring people like happiness, but that does not work in my field as a leader position. And it doesn't. In like 90% probably, you never have the class clown leading the show, right? Because it's just going to be a good time. So with this, where I'm going is where I see myself is being entertaining, being there at the end of your guys' day to brighten your spirits and show you there is more to do. And things I'd like to do is like do events and then like community things, and like there's not much of that here in the workspace. Like, there isn't really a core sense of like a community, and that's what I've been loving with streaming. So that's number 2, is my current reality is unsustainable. As I was numbering these, I was kind of realizing it's not really a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. It's all one big thing. And I really like, so far, what I've been doing for the last month. Happy month is why we're doing this different style Jacob's Journal. I like this. It brings me purpose and pride. If I could continue this when it gets extremely hard, like once main unit gets here, the guys that do the shoot crew get here, if I can maintain this, I know I'll live a full life. I know I will be happy. And I wanna thank you for that, and thank you for watching this, and thank you for the good month. I'm so proud of us. But before I start crying out of sheer emotion, I'm gonna just go ahead and say love, peace. See you next week.